What is good, y'all? Welcome back to After the Whistle. We're your hosts. I'm Mo. That's YG.
What's up?
Now today we're going to be talking about certain topics going on around the world of sports. Starting off,
time for business, baby. Time for business.
Well, LeVar, have you been surprised by?
a lot of y'all might have heard that Lonzo Ball has recently just released a sneaker going up for an absurd amount of price. Him and Big Baller brand, just a week after Nike, Under Armour, and Adidas turned him down. Boom.
Boy, if you don't get... Man, this whole situation is crazy to me because the guy hasn't played a minute, in the NBA, and he's, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Reebok, they've all rejected him as an athlete that they want to, represent. And his father's come out with this whole vision of Big Baller brand and, wanting to just go into his own lane, which is something no one's done yet, no one's done before.
The thing they're looking for a co-partnership, basically.
But you're not going to get that.
They want to get Big Baller brand to get involved with Nike, Adidas, Under Armour.
And I understand that vision, but you're not going to get that. You haven't proven yourself, No,
I agree. Yeah. I definitely agree. And the thing is, this shoe is just the base model. It's going up for $495. I don't know what crowd he's trying to address, having the shoe priced at such a high point. And that's just the base model. The highest model sells for $995.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you have a hard time paying $220 or $225 for some Jordans. And that's not saying that you can't afford it or whatever the case may be. But it's a pair of shoes. Basketball shoes in particular aren't meant to be sold for $495, and I get it. And you're gonna have normal people who are just getting by and living check to check that are gonna probably buy this shoe just to look cool at the gym or whatever the case may be. But it's stupid. It's a stupid.
But the thing is, I kind of know why he's doing this. So when Nike, those big brands, said no to him, turned him down, to price this shoe so high, I think it's because you can't produce a lot of them. Like, people who buy them now, they're not going to be able to get them until November.
Right.
He's making people pay now so he can produce so many shoes. So when November comes, he can release it. That's just the way I see it, to be honest with you.
Well, see, to me, I see that aspect of it, but I also see the marketing part because, ironically enough, when does NBA season start?
In October, end of
Late
October,
early November.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's when Lonzo will first put on a uniform, whether it's going to be the Lakers, Boston, Sixers, whoever ends up with that first pick. The marketing part of it, from what I see, or from just what I think, because we don't know, is it's going to be released when Lonzo first plays his first professional game. And I'm sure the Lonzo, what do they call them?
The ZO2s. The
ZO2s. They'll have a pair of those on for his first game. So I get that, one, it's going to take a while for them to mass produce these shoes, and it's not going to come at a low cost either.
Do you think we'll see them in stores? Like around Foot Locker?
No, they won't be, because the way this is right now, it's an exclusive thing. Now, if they have success in selling a shoe, I can see Foot Locker and Champ Sports and all these other stores and companies wanting to kind of get with Big Baller brand and see if they can sell their product on their shelves. But that's not going to happen for a while. They're going to have a lot of success selling the shoe and selling the brand itself to be able to put that on Foot Locker's store or whoever it may be.
To be able to sell them on a much larger scale.
Right.
Another thing, the way I see it, we've heard LeVar come out and say that, let's say Lonzo gets drafted, right? And he has a great career.
Okay.
The shoe that's selling right now at $995, 10 years from now, if he's a great player and has a Hall of Fame career, will sell for 10 times that. It's memorabilia.
So has anyone ordered the $995? Is that what it is?
Here's the $995
with the autograph, right?
Oh, yes, because here's what this is. That shoe right there is memorabilia.
But that's just this batch of the shoes.
Yeah, just the first shoe.
Right.
Just the first.
So as time goes on, I mean, it's going to go into two ways. Either it's going to be a success, and they're going to come out with the ZO3s and ZO4s, and God knows what else they're going to come up with, and people are going to start buying them, and then as more people are interested, they're going to have to bring the price down. You're not going to sell this shoe or another shoe for $495.
You see him bringing the price
to a
down?
lot of people. Yeah, they don't have a choice.
I don't see that unless he signs with like a Nike and Adidas or Under Armour.
But he's not signed with any of those places or any of those companies. The only way I see this going is either they're going to have success with people that are going to want to buy this shoe in particular. No one's gonna want to buy this shoe after this first batch. And if it does go into failure, and at that point, Lonzo's gonna have to sit down and say, well, you know what? I tried to go down the path that my father wanted to create for me, and it didn't work. And he's gonna have to reach out to Nike and Adidas or whoever it may be to get his own deal with them and exclude his dad out of the
meetings and the business side of it,
just the whole equation in itself. But to be able to do that, he's gonna have to produce on the court. He's gonna have to have a really good rookie season, and then he's gonna have to have a good second season. And if he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing on the court, Nike doesn't care for him.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see just how the shoe does selling wise. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if he sells a lot, because it's really mostly going to depend on how he plays his rookie year.
Everything's.
If he doesn't produce, this whole marketing scheme goes out the window to me. And I just don't think okay, Lonzo's going to get a shoe. He's looking for $1 billion from these companies for all three of his kids. When LiAngelo gets to the league, is he going to get a shoe? When LaMelo gets out of school and gets to the league, is he going to get a shoe? I just don't know how, you're going to...
And I think the vision is, yes, they're all probably going to get their shoes. If Big Baller Brand continues to succeed, it's kind of like Team Jordan.
Yeah.
Carmelo has his own shoe. Russ has his own shoe, but they're on a bigger platform. You know what I mean? And, even with LeBron's got his own shoe now, but when he retires... And what Kobe's doing now, he's expanding. Kobe's expanding. Jordan's already done that with his Team Jordan thing. So this is going to be like a team Big Baller Brand, and it's going to start off with his sons. And if they have success, then yes, I can see other athletes wanting to come in and do that. But however, if they don't succeed, and if Lonzo doesn't have a good rookie season, then this is going to fall flat on its face, and it's going to be an afterthought.
So moving on to our next topic.
Gets called for a foul. Oubre goes after him.
So our second topic is going to be, and it's something that's been kind of just, it's been annoying me. And I've seen a lot of people tweet about it. I've seen people, just talk about it. And it's how the games have been officiated during the playoffs. And, one of the things that I remember watching growing up, when I was younger and I was probably 9, 10, 11 years old watching NBA playoffs was the physicality of the game. And it was fun. It was entertaining. I liked basketball and I liked certain players at that time. But watching the playoffs and watching teams get physical with each other was as fun. But when you start calling technicals for shoves
the slightest physical contact, I get you.
And the talking, the back and forth, that's part of the game.
They're not letting them play.
You're not letting them play.
They're not letting them play at all.
And if you go to any gym, and if you just pick up basketball, or if you've played at the highest level, that, talking crap is a big part of the game in itself. And if you're not using that, and some people use that to fuel them. Some people play better when, they're in that.
There has to be some leeway, there's the way the game is officiated. And just in this year's playoffs, they have given them zero leeway. The slightest contact, the slightest little verbal exchange
results
will
in
get
a technical foul.
Exactly. And I think that has to change in the future of this playoffs and further playoffs moving forward. Exactly. Just for example, the Wizards Boston was a game 3, right? Especially after the Kelly Oubre incident, when Oubre basically just ran over Kelly Olynyk.
A little insight into that next level of thinking that Kobe Bryant has, and Isaiah Thomas has fully embraced it as Olynyk gets called for a foul. Oubre goes after him. Oubre goes right over it, and we have a scrum here at Verizon Center.
The game was called so tightly.
It was.
After that.
They micro officiated that entire game.
Yeah.
And yes, it did start off with Kelly Oubre. But see, one of the things that kind of irritated me about that is, with Kelly Olynyk, and he's got a pass and breaking Kevin Love's shoulder,
being a dirty player,
those kind of things, and that's fine, whatever. That's different. But just talking about this series in general, when he sets a screen, he's putting his elbows up, and yes, it's during the play, but it's still
a dirty
play.
Yeah,
you cannot put your elbow up on a screen into a guy's throat or into a guy's head, or knock him to the floor and not expect a reaction.
Yeah, that's what Kelly said when he was asked about it.
Move on. it's in the past. Don't dwell on what's in the past. Obviously I got ejected from the game. It was just reoccurring events. I've been hit in the head multiple times by the same person. I've confronted them about it, but the last time it happened, I fell. I felt pain in my head and my jaw, and I got up and I ran to him and I bumped him, and that's all that happened.
It's multiple offenses in the same game.
Right.
And to be honest with you, if somebody were to do that to anybody, there's going to be retaliation.
You're going to react.
You know what I mean? And I don't blame Kelly for doing what he did. Kelly Oubre, I don't blame him for doing what he did.
And to Kelly Oubre's, and I don't want to defend him, and he shouldn't have retaliated regardless.
Should have controlled himself a little bit.
Should have controlled himself. He should have waited until the whistle blew back on a live play and got a little physical back with him, and all that would have resulted in was either a foul or a technical.
Mm-hmm.
But it boiled him to the point where he had to run over to the guy and
tackled him like if that was the NFL for a second.
Do I think that should have been a technical plus an ejection? No, I think it should have just been a technical and
plus a suspension. He was suspended for game 4. Yeah,
and that's too much. You cannot. The refs are trying to control these games to where it gets to a point where, as a player, you get so frustrated that you feel like what you're doing is not resulting in a win or a loss. It's more so the officiating is resulting in a win or loss, and it's not just the players, even the coaches. Fisdale, got frustrated,
got fined.
Yeah, they've got to calm down on the officiating. Call the illegal plays.
Well, let me tell you this: they're basically trying to stop anything that could lead to an altercation in the future. If they see some jawing in the beginning of the game, they want to stop that early so it doesn't escalate later in the game.
But that's why you have technicals, you have fines, you have warnings, you have things of that sort. But to just suspend players and to start calling other plays because of this one play, and calling them certain ways and affecting the outcome of the game, it's not right and it's not fun. We don't want to see it, and the players don't want to be involved in it, and it takes away from the entertainment aspects. At the end of the day, NBA, NFL, NHL, any of these leagues, they're entertainment.
They're money makers. They're all trying to make money.
Right, and you're going to get viewership by people tuning in. If I'm not a Boston fan or a Wizards fan, I want to tune into the series because it's physical. I don't want to tune in because
it makes the series fun.
It's just basketball.
It makes the series fun.
It makes it fun. So
when you're an edge,
right?
That, yeah.
And when you're micro managing and micro officiating to that extent, it takes away from the fun. And if I'm not a Wizards fan or a Celtics fan or just a basketball fan, period, then I kind of don't even really care to tune in. They've got to tone down on those excessive calls, and they've got to kind of just let them play. It's the playoffs, man. It's supposed to be physical.
Yeah, let the players play.
Let the players play.
Now, moving on to our last topic.
He is climbing the charts. John Wall is one of the top point guards in the game.
Lately, John Wall has been playing very well, especially in the series against Boston. Not only in the series against Atlanta in the first round, he's been playing great throughout the whole playoffs. I think averaging around 28 points, 11 assists. But it has brought up the argument that is he the best point guard in the NBA right now? What would you think?
John Wall's been consistent throughout the season. They started off 2-11, and he had double knee surgeries during the summer last summer, and the 2-11 start was because he couldn't play back-to-back games. So, he was missing a lot of games, and at some point in time when he was able to consistently play and not miss back-to-back games and not be rested, they flourished. They went from a 2-11 team that looked like that they might fight for an 8 seed or not even make the playoffs to a top 4 seed. From what I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they only won, I think, a game or two fewer than Cleveland.
Yeah.
And Cleveland's got LeBron.
No, that's true.
They're an all-star team, and they've got one of the greatest players of all time. To where John Wall, he's not one of the greatest players of all time. He's a really great player right now. And his evolution from going into the regular season and being a really dominant guard, because the historical point guard is the guy who's going to average 10, 13 points and get you 10, 12 assists and just manage the game. He's not a game manager. He's above that. I mean, the guy during the regular season was averaging almost 24 points a game, 11 assists, 2 steals. I mean, he ended up tied for first in steals. I mean, he's an overall really good guard.
Really been the go-to guy for them.
Right. And going into the playoffs, I mean, he took his game up a notch. Now, if you ask me at the end of the regular season, where he is in terms of first, second, or third team, I tell you he's second team.
Yeah, I would agree.
Maybe even third, you know? And that's just because there were other guards playing at a higher level than John Wall, and their teams were a little bit better. But going into this playoffs, I mean, again, he's averaging almost 29 points a game, like 28.8, and he's averaging 11.2 assists, and I believe it's 2.3 steals.
Yeah.
And for active players right now in the playoffs, those are he's top 3 in every one of those categories. And you compare him to the likes of LeBron and James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, which most of us and most of you think
MVP candidates.
Those are MVP candidates, you know what I mean? And so when I hear people comparing him to Kyrie or Damian Lillard or Kyle Lowry, you know, it baffles me because it's like those guys aren't putting up the same amount of numbers.
Yeah.
And those guys, and especially with Kyrie, I mean, you are playing with arguably the second best player of all time.
Well, let me tell you something about Kyrie. He benefits so much playing with LeBron. Honestly, he fits playing with LeBron so much. I think a little bit better than D-Wade did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the way his game, the way he plays, he's not a point guard to me. He's a combo. He's kind of like a CJ McCollum, a Damian Lillard type.
Even a Steph
type. Dude who can go get you 30, but won't get you 10 assists, 12 assists.
Consistently.
Yeah, consistently, like John Wall does. The way I look at it, John Wall right now, especially the way he's been playing in the playoffs, he's a top 3 point guard in the league.
In the league, yes.
Best point guard in the East right now.
Right, and I agree 100%. And again, that's a big part of that is because again, he elevated his level of play in the playoffs. And I mean, right now he's balling out of his mind. There's not a point guard right now in the playoffs that's outplaying him. And he's doing this without an all-star next to him. Because you got to think, Bradley Beal.
He's perennial.
He's perennial. He's up and coming, but he still has yet to make an all-star team.
Yeah.
So he hasn't solidified himself in that light. So for him to be doing that without an all-star on the roster, period, I mean, it says a lot about him. And then just moving away from John Wall, overall, you know, again, at the end of the season, you ask me who the MVP is, I'll tell you it's Russell Westbrook. But going into the playoffs, and which I think should matter into what awards and what selection team you're in, LeBron James to me is the clear-cut MVP.
Yeah.
He was consistent. He had historic numbers throughout the regular season. But going into the playoffs, I mean, he has done things that we haven't seen.
And even though they ended the season at a slow pace, he was able to turn it on just like that.
Yeah. I mean,
I've seen a stat literally since Game 5 of last year's finals. He's averaging around 35 points a game,
right.
10 rebounds.
Damn near a triple-double.
Yeah, like some crazy numbers like that.
And 8 assists.
And he has not let up since then. Like, yeah, he had kind of a close series, but it was a sweep in Indiana. But he just destroyed Toronto.
And honestly, I mean, Indiana was kind of one of those things where I know it looked like a close series to us, but they were implementing a lot of their offense and defense. They were trying new rotations out and stuff like that.
They were just kind of trying to get it squared away.
Exactly.
You know, getting ready for the next series.
Exactly.
And they were, even when they were like trying to adjust everything, they still swept in the end.
and they easily handed, you know, Toronto a sweep. I mean, that was embarrassing for Toronto. And like I said again,
I honestly thought that they would give them more fight.
No, I didn't think so. I told you, Toronto, you know, they get into the playoffs and they start squirming. I mean, Ibaka and PJ Tucker, you know, those are additions during the regular season. And I remember telling you during the regular season, yeah, they're good, but for that team, they're not going to make that big of a difference, you know, because again, going into the playoffs, you've got to be able to elevate your game. Like, and if you can't do that, you're not going to go far, you know? And right now, you look at the teams that are still in the playoffs, Cleveland, LeBron's elevated his game. You know, Boston, Isaiah elevated his game. I know he's having a rough little last couple of games, but he's elevated his game to where he's carrying his team to keep going into the playoffs. And you go into the West, I mean, Golden State, man, they're elevating their game as a whole. You know, KD's getting really great shots. He's efficient. Clay's getting his. Draymond's getting his. Steph's getting his.
They're firing on all cylinders.
All cylinders. And then you look at San Antonio, they're another one of those teams where it's a team thing. Everyone's elevating their game. And with Houston, James Harden's been on a little slump lately, but everybody around him is elevating their game and is getting good shots up and is playing really good defense. So you look at the teams that are left, yeah, each team might have a superstar, and they do have a superstar. I can't think of one team right now that's still in the playoffs that doesn't have a superstar. But everybody around them also is coming into their own and elevating their games. And, you know, at the end of the playoffs, I'm sure, you know, they're going to have the first, second, and third team all selections and MVP. And I really think that whoever is selecting, you know, all these teams and all these awards, they really should base it off of not just the regular season, but what you did for your team going into the playoffs and where you ended up in the playoffs. Exactly. That's just my take on that. So,
well, that was it. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. And go ahead and please like, share, and subscribe. And also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ATW_YM to stay updated on when our next content will be released. And until next time, we're out.